Hello, sir.
Hello.
And we'll talk about Operation Spiderweb on this time, which is recently happened on between Russia and Ukraine. So, first of all, for the viewers, what is Operation Spiderweb?
See, Operation Spider Web, as they call it, is a continuation of the operations or the war which is going on since long between Russia and Ukraine. And now this spider web operation has a very important significance because it has been done right inside, very deep inside the Russian territory. And the assets which have been targeted over there, they have a far-reaching consequence on the furtherance of operations of Russia. A kind of a very masterstroke kind of a operation, a kind of a maneuver by the Ukrainians inside Russia to target their airfields, target their air assets against the Russian Air Force, and basically to say that the equipment which was used to target there was of very low cost, and the damages are of very, very high profile targets, high value targets. Now, that kind of a disproportionate kind of a damage which has been done to the Russians is phenomenal by the Ukrainians. In the recent past, there have been use of drones, very innovative ways of using drones. But the way the Ukrainians have done, it is unparalleled as of now. And it is a kind of a reminder or a kind of a warning to many nations that a low cost thing can have so much of strategic significance. Now this operation happened on 1st of June. Today we are on 6th June. In this interlude, Russia is still assessing the losses. They will retaliate. They have vowed to retaliate. But they are, as of now, thinking as to how to do it. Russia is a little mightier, rather more mightier in the military domain as compared to the Ukrainians. But then the Ukrainians have really been very hard and have achieved very, very significant kind of a target.
So can you just break it down, like for the viewers, like how they planned the entire operation, like what all things they overall catered for this, and how this entire attack was executed?
See, what has happened, as per the open sources and the claims of Zelensky, the Ukrainians have been planning for this for about 18 months plus. And they planned it a very low cost, kind of an insertion with very innocuous kind of ideas that it was carried, these drones were carried in a container on the top floor of the container. And these containers were taken to different locations in Russia, coordinated, remotely controlled top surface of the containers, जिसमें कि उनके जो टॉप थे कंटेनर्स के वो रिमोटली उनको ओपन किया गया, and the drones were placed. You must have seen, and you will see it on the screen also, that small drones were placed over there with some explosives. तो जब वो सारे के सारे कंटेनर्स को in Russia, they had placed it in the from western part of Russia, or eastern part of Ukraine, western part of Russia, down further to the east, all along the Ukrainian boundary, and also it having with the Serbian boundaries, like Murmansk, Ryazan, Ivanova, Irkutsk, and Amur. And also to tell you that they have been done in various time zones of Russia. Russia is a large country, or aware. So in different time zones they have been placed all together, and they were carried. Even as far as the reports are concerned, the container drivers are also not aware that this is what is going to happen. That means such a coordination, इस तरह का जो उनका कोऑर्डिनेशन था वो गजब का था. सारा ये ड्रोन्स को उन्होंने कंटेनर्स में डाल के अलग अलग लोकेशंस पे पहुंचाए, एक साथ पहुंचाए, और पूरे कंट्रोल जो थी उनकी वो यूक्रेन से हो रही थी. और उन्होंने ओपन सोर्स का जो सिस्टम है उनको नेविगेट करने का, कंट्रोल करने का, वो ओपन सोर्स के नेटवर्क से उसको कंट्रोल किया थ्रू द सैटेलाइट. दे ensured that the top floor of the containers are open, and each and every drone was being controlled by a different person in Ukraine. There are 117 people who were involved in controlling these drones. That means with so much of accuracy that they did. So let's understand it, that it was a very, very daring, very, very challenging, very deep inside Russia. They had planned it over a period of time, and when it started and they moved the containers right at the target areas, and from there they have hit these targets so precisely, so accurately, that a large number of their valued assets, the valued assets are Tu-95, then you have the Tu-160, Tu-22, A-50, all these aircrafts are old aircrafts. They are the bomber varieties. A-50 is also their Ricky variety aircraft. Now they have been hit. It takes time to really make them, preserve them, use them for a period of time. And it appears from the pictures that we see there that all of them were parked in open. And Russia was very, very confident that so much deep inside, approximately 4,000 to 6,000 kilometers inside, it will not be possible for the Ukrainians to, carry out an air raid inside.
Operations on such a large scale.
Operations on such a large scale. And therefore they were quite complacent about this. And it was a very different kind of a attack, where they lost, as per the reports, 41 aircrafts.
So this was like पहला अटैक है इस किस्म का. इससे पहले like we have only seen this in the Hollywood scripts कि ऐसे होता था टॉम क्रूज की मूवी में, रिमोटली कोई इसको कंट्रोल कर रहा है. So this is the first time these kind of attacks have been used. And seeing to Ukraine, it has been using drones in such a massive scale, like factory उनके पास पूरी drones की.
See, drones are now available and it can be made very easily.
Yes.
Like you today, e-rickshaw.
Yes.
anywhere and everywhere on the road. But drones are also very low cost. They can have an endurance time of 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, like that. They have the precision guidance. They use the SIM cards, simple SIM cards, and then they control it from Ukraine. So this, what you are saying of Hollywood movie is kind of an imagination, and what we see is an imaginary aspect. But here it was in reality, the real sense that the aircrafts have been destroyed, and Russia has accepted it. As far as they are concerned, they are saying that they didn't have any casualty of men,
Right.
but I'm sure they must have had some of them also. So you can see in the strategic parlance, it's like a maneuver through air, not for such a long distance maneuvers, but placing of the launcher kind of thing very close to the target without disrupting the environment over there. Nobody could sense it that this is going to happen like this. And then all of a sudden, these drones started flying up, went towards the airfield, and targeted these aircraft standing on the tarmac, one after other.
Okay.
So that is the kind of importance that it is happening. Now, as far as Ukraine is concerned, though there is no ceasefire as of now, there have been talks about the ceasefire for a number of times. Ukraine has lost a lot within Ukraine itself by the Russians' attack. And they have also lost their precious land also, like Luhansk and the Donbass and all that area, and earlier also in 2000 up to 2014, Crimea was also annexed from them. So these are the areas which have been annexed or kind of controlled by the Russians. And वो चाहते हैं कि अब इन एरियाज को हम उनको वापस नहीं करें. तो इन चीजों के मद्देनजर जो इस तरह का क्रिटिकल हर्ट उनको जो दिया गया है रशियंस को, ये उनके दिमाग में, उनके जहन में ये लगातार उनको हॉन्ट करता रहेगा
कि ऐसा भी कुछ हो सकता है,
कि कभी भी और भी कुछ हो सकता है. अभी तो उनके दिमाग में कि इन्होंने इस तरह का उपयोग किया है ड्रोन्स का, विच इज सो इनोवेटिव. कोई और भी इस तरह के टारगेट्स हों जो कि और भी दूसरे टारगेट्स को अटैक करें और उनको भी डिस्ट्रॉय.
So let's come to South Asia now. Like abhi recently we had Operation Sindoor.
Yeah.
In that also large number of drones were used. So how this kind of operation can shape up between a conflict of India and Pakistan, and what India should learn from this?
See, what is going to happen now is that world has got seized to this fact that things can go around with small, economics with multifold strategic importance. And therefore, no distance is actually a far distance. The world has been preparing for long distance targeting. Their missiles, ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, they have their own significance. They have their own value. Nobody is denying that part. But with a low cost thing, with some kind of a support
Correct.
in the local area, you can control things at such far distances. And controlling it from your own source, your own land. Every drone which was being controlled was from within Ukraine.
Right.
And also they are saying, the Ukrainians have claimed that उनके जितने भी लोग रशिया में इनकी तैयारी करा रहे थे, जो वो उनके उड़न बॉक्सेस जिनके अंदर ये ड्रोन रखे थे जो उन्हीं से खरीदा, रशिया से ही लिया गया. Everything was prepared within
Russia only.
Russia itself. Probably the drones were carried inside Russia in bits and parts, and they were assembled over there within Russia. And the fact has not come out that some people within the Russia also has helped them or not, because they are almost of the same stock. Ukraine was part of the erstwhile Soviet Union.
Yes.
They know every nook and corner. They are aware of the geography of Russia. There may be somebody who has helped them also, which has not come out. Probably it will not come out also.
Okay.
But it cannot be taken so easily that there was no support from within. That Russians, who has helped, nobody knows. So therefore, you have to be aware, whether it is India or now even America or any other country, they have to be aware that things can go sour or turn ugly at any point of time. So that is the kind of a lesson that one has to prepare, that people have to be, aware that things can happen like this. Even a small kind of a movement, small kind of things, innocuous looking talks, they all should be monitored. And therefore, one has to be prepared and guard against such things to happen. It can only be by remaining more vigilant about things.
So, sir, it's a new kind of a hybrid warfare which is evolving right now.
Actually, you are very right. It is one of the best examples of a hybrid warfare. Based on intelligence, based on covert maneuver, based on low cost, based on destroying a very high value target deep inside. When your adversary is totally off guard at such distances, sneak in, destroy, and everybody out from that source before the attacks have begun. The only people who have been caught over there are those truck drivers or the container drivers. They also have, arrested some other people as per the reports, open sources. But really they have got nothing. The damage has been done. The damage has been done very bad. So, in this kind of a situation, you have to have your cyber defense of a very high quality, monitoring during the operations of OGWs. Maybe there may be some kind of a OGW in Russia also who have helped them, that they have not even been able to identify them. So it's a hybrid kind of a situation where things have taken ugly turn for the Russians. But Russians have also vowed that they will reply it, pay it back, will do the retribution, and in time to come, we have to see how it happens.
So, what will be the economic effect on Russia after this attack? Like somebody coming down 4,000 kilometers inside your territory and destroying your strategic bombers,
Yeah.
and that too on a very large scale. Like Tu-95, Tu-160 used to be pride of Russians.
Yes.
That they used to carry their supersonic cruise missiles on these aircrafts and used to launch for
Very nice.
higher distances.
Well,
So, what will happen to Russia now? What will happen to Russian weapon industry now?
okay, as far as these bombers are concerned, Tu-95, Tu-160 and Tu so and so, they are old ones. As far as one is aware, they have even stop the production line of this.
Yes.
If they have stopped the production line of this, whether to repair them, if there are some damages which they can repair and put them back on road and then fly again, that also will be a very, very critical issue. And secondly, so many numbers of these aircrafts at different locations have been destroyed. Now, understand this situation. Ukraine has a backing
Of NATO.
of a kind of NATO, the EU. They have supplied all kinds of weapons and other things. The Russia had an edge over their of their air force.
Right.
Now these have gone down. So many, and ancillaries also kind of that must have been damaged over there. So the support system also must have got damaged. Therefore, to start the operations, to start the whole thing again, they will be short of these. And those who, there are some assessors who are also saying that anything between 20 to 30% losses have happened to the air force of Russia. If that figure is right, then it's a huge economic loss to them. To build an aircraft all over again, those who are not in the pipeline, those who are not having the manufacturing line available now, it will be very, very daunting task. And they had stood to the time. So in that manner, it's a real blow to Russia, and the Ukrainians have an upper edge as of now. Therefore, one has to be, like I told you, that anti-hybrid aspects of intelligence has to be of very high quality. The real-time intelligence has to be high quality. The cyber agencies have to work in cohort. All that aspects of the value targets, the vulnerable areas and the vulnerable points, which is in the air defense parlance, like an airfield, or the vulnerable area. They should have been guarded. Ukrainians and Russians both have been using the UAVs in this war, and leaving these airfields there and not having systems to counter the drones has been a very, very big loophole. You see, they knew that these locations don't have anything to react. The reactions were not there. There is one claim also that these truck drivers, they were throwing stones to bring them down. Now, talking about a Stone Age warfare kind of a thing. In today's world, it is not there. If you are off guard, you will be paying. And if you are off guard, you will pay deep inside your territory. That is a lesson. That all these things can, get inside, and kind of a destruction that they will do will be quite a bit. So that is the whole sense. Now Russia has to gear up again. Even the Ukrainians have to be ahead of the curve if they want to be. But then let's see how things open up as of now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your insights on this matter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll meet again.
Sure.